This episode of Prevention Over Prescription with Dr. K is brought to you by the WCPD Foundation. WCPD creates some magic. Let me tell you how. Imagine you could give 20% of your tax bill to charities of your choice for as low as 1 cent cost. Since 2006, the WCPD Foundation has specialized in helping high-tax Canadians give more than $350 million to charities all across Canada, with millions going towards our healthcare system here in Ottawa. Lower taxes, higher giving. Y'all ready to learn more? Visit WCPD.com and book a consultation to learn how charity flow-through shares can take your giving to the next level. Quadcast Nation, welcome back. This is a very special episode because I am going to be talking with a change maker, somebody that is helping us reshape healthcare through charitable donations. And I'm proud to say that they're sponsoring the show, and we are going to be doing a lot of stuff together because when somebody is a change maker like Peter here, you got to hang on. So Peter Nicholson, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. K.
I'm really stoked about this because you are an outside-the-box thinker, and with that outside-the-box approach, you've been able to allow for this avenue for us to be able to provide charitable donations at scale. So how did it start for you? When did this aha moment happen for Peter?
Okay. Well, I started in the financial services business in 1987. I was 22 years old, went to school at Dalhousie, grew up on the East Coast. And like a lot of people in the financial world, we did investments, we did insurance, pretty plain vanilla stuff. And then in 1995, I got more involved with tax, found that it was quite cerebral. It was interesting to me. So we got into the tax reduction area, and it was a good differentiator. The problem with financial services is that there's a lot of us out there, and we're doing a lot of the same thing. So how are we special? How are we different? And I quickly found out people don't like how much tax they're paying, and they wouldn't mind so much if they felt they were getting great value for your tax dollars, right? So I thought, wow, this is an area that people are upset. And if I could find a better way beyond the RSP and the tax-free savings accounts, that I would be able to get onto a new group, and also by definition, people that have a lot of tax to pay usually have a lot of income and cash flow and net worth, so it fit in. So really, in 1995, we started doing tax reduction. And our company at that time was called Wealth Creation Preservation. The acronym was WCP. So when you had most of our clients at that young age, they needed to create more wealth. And then as you get older and you accumulate a lot, it's just as hard to preserve it, Dr. K. So you make it, but you can also lose it. So preservation is important. And then just to figure out where did the D come from? The D came in 2006. And it came about... I was, and I'm an entrepreneur that happens to fit into the financial world, but I also got involved with a resort down in the Bahamas called Grand Isle. And it's a beautiful spot. If you haven't been to the Exuma Bahamas, or your family and friends are invited to come join us there, but all these crazy turquoisey waters. So I went around the world by myself for a month. I knew the Caribbean well, but I didn't know French Polynesia well. I did not know Bali well. I did not know Dubai, which at that time was probably the richest place in the world as far as building 60 cranes. And so off I went to kind of verify before I put more money in this resort in Exuma, well, how nice is this? And to my knowledge, looks as nice as the Maldives and Tahiti, Fiji, but I didn't know. So fast forward, I also, on my way to Dubai, I had an invitation to go to a friend that was at Care Canada working in Bangladesh. And at that time, Bangladesh, next to India, was considered to be the second poorest country after Haiti. And that was a life-altering trip. For your listeners, I believe in travel. I think travel is a phenomenal way to grow your mind. And I met wonderful people there that were living on $2 to $3 a day. And then I got on my airplane after a great week of Bangladesh, and I went to Dubai. And literally within about 3-4 hour plane flight, I'm there. And soon I had a meeting at a dance club to meet some very wealthy Emiratis, and they were interested in doing more of these flow-through mining shares. At that point, we weren't giving them to charity, and so to balance out from their oil. And they bought magnums of Dom Perignon. They are going for over $1,000 each, and we didn't drink them. Most of them were sprayed on the dance floor. Yeah. And so I just went from someone making $2 a day, it would make their whole year to make a bottle of Dom, and that was just wasted. And I actually got physically ill between the contrast between the haves and the have-nots. I came back from that trip knowing that Exuma, Bahamas is just as nice as Tahiti, Fiji, and the Maldives, so that was a check the box. But I was also kind of frustrated in that I'm already been in this business now for almost 20 years, and what was I really accomplishing in my life? I was helping wealthy people become wealthier, and that's fine, and we would get paid well to do that type of work. But I was missing, like some of your listeners, that soul, that piece that really keeps you going at work and really makes you enjoy your day. And I don't think if I did that trip between the haves and the have-nots, I would have had my creativity when Stephen Harper finished the job that Paul Martin started, which says, I want to increase more philanthropy in Canada. And therefore, if you have public securities, stocks, and you have a capital gain on them, you can donate them to charities of your choice and not have to pay a capital gains tax. And that was happened in 2006 in May. And I knew very well, within minutes, I said, oh my goodness, we've got these mining flow-through shares that have been in the tax code 3 years older than RSPs in the 50s. They're all capital gain. My clients can buy those and donate them to charities of their choice and get an extra tax savings by not having to pay the capital gain. So that was my aha moment. And I don't think it would have happened if I didn't see the contrast and I was looking for a vehicle to help people that have done very well to help those that haven't.
Amazing. I love the story too in terms of the contrast.
Yeah.
Because I think we all need that lift to get us to the next level in terms of creating some magic and really hearing the Dubai versus Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad that you had that moment because what you're doing is significantly impacting the lives of so many. But give us a sense of the amount of people or clients that can utilize tools such as that you have with the flow through shares and the impact that could have.
Right. Well, I'd say there's about 350,000 Canadians that make over $300,000 a year. You don't have to make over that, but usually over 200,000 makes sense because you're at the top bracket. And even if you are giving to charities and you're drawing an income of 150, it can still work. But for sure, the 300,000 is our choice market, and there's so many of them out there. But we only have enough of these flow-through share product because people ask me, well, why isn't everyone in Canada doing this, and why haven't I heard about it? And the reason is there's only about enough product for about 2,500 Canadians. And those Canadians, unless we can grow the market a bit more, and that's my goal, and I can go into little details, we need to grow these liquidity providers, which are going to de-risk this risky investment to make it into a guarantee, into a GIC. So I need to do that, increase that. But that's why, we have repeat customers. I only have 3 other competitors that are based out of Toronto. And between the 4 of us, we're dealing with about 2,500. And once they get on this train, they don't want to get off, as long as they have income. So that's our market. There's about $1 billion done of mining flow-through shares, and they're mainly focused these days on critical minerals. And that is to get the electrification transfer. We got to get off the carbon. It's going to still take another 20 to 30 years. Canada's been fabulous. Alberta's been outstanding in Saskatchewan. But the world needs more electrification. And Canada also is blessed with Australia with these great cobalt, uranium, lithium, copper minerals that we like to extract. Yeah. So
and in terms of impact, so just to come back to something for a second, you are been a big component of our foundation, the Ottawa Hospital Foundation partner, to help us try and get to that $500 million mark for our new campus. which we're gonna get to, and it's exciting times. But what pushed WCPD to want to be part of that equation? What drove the linkage there?
Okay. Well, on last year, our public foundation, which if you don't have a private foundation, most Canadians don't, even wealthy clients don't, they run it through our public, and then we can send those checks to any charity of the 90,000. I'm based in Ottawa. This is my hometown. I've been here since 1991. And we're asked all the time to help other charities in Ottawa. And nothing against my friends in Ontario and Toronto. If we can maybe do a little bit better on our home field here in Ottawa, then I'm all for that. So the Ottawa Hospital is by far the biggest campaign. Like, it's almost a triple from what Ottawa's ever done. I mean, a little over 100 million is a big campaign. So I've been helping, the Boys and Girls Club. You and I were there for the breakfast. I'm also on the board of Major Gifts for CHIO. I've got 6 beautiful children, so that's important to me.
6?
Yeah.
Holy cow, you've been busy.
Yeah, 6 children from the ages of 27 to 9, so all sprinkled there. And then my mom died of cancer, and so I'm also involved with the Ottawa Regional Cancer Foundation. And then, of course, the hospital is so important. So those would be the 3 main, but then there's also little grassroots charities like Help Our Students, which gives $150 per month to kids in grade 11 and 12 that are struggling financially to graduate, but mentally they have the power to graduate, but they're taking 2 or 3 jobs. So that's one of those great charities that, a small $1,500 donation is instrumental in helping one child in Ottawa graduate. So yeah, no, I'm proud of being a hometown fella here in Ottawa, and we're doing our best to get over that last 140 million. The first 360, we always call that nothing's easy, but that is easier than the last 140. But the hospital is going to be made. There's no turning back. It will be accomplished. We just have to work.
Absolutely. And it takes guys like you, Peter, to help operationalize it and make it happen. I'm thinking a bit back at flow through shares, and maybe giving people a sense of the tax savings associated with it. Like, I think maybe not getting into too much in the nitty gritty, but kind of thinking about the net impact of you going through a flow through share and how much you could actually contribute to charity.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, you can do about 30% of flow-through shares of your salaried income, 15% of dividends, and 10% of capital gain. But let's just take someone that makes, $300,000, a doctor, a dentist, a business person. They can buy 90 grand of this type of product. So it's like a super duper RSP. Everyone knows the RSP. Most people know about the tax-free savings account. Very few people still know about flow-through shares unless they were in Alberta, and they've been using that for exploration of oil and gas. And your time there, you probably even heard about that when you were in Alberta. So you can buy a large sum of them. It's deductible completely off your income. So if you're making $300,000 and you bought 100,000 of them, now your income is $200,000. And just for easy math, let's say that's 50% tax bracket. That saves you $50,000 of tax. But now you've got $100,000 of these very volatile, what used to be also junior oil and gas. That was no longer available after Trudeau paused that. Carney might bring that back because we still do need oil and gas, but the main focus is on minerals. So you've got 100,000 of these very volatile. That's why the government provides a flow-through share deduction. And let me just tell you, with the mining business, it's kind of maybe similar to the biomedical business, that you have people doing research and development. That would be the exploration. But when they find something exciting, then a big major will buy them out. In the biofield, it would be like Eli Lilly or Pfizer would come in and buy you out. Same thing in this business. So these are small Canadian companies that don't have any revenue yet. They're still looking for that cobalt, that lithium. But when they find it, they become quite lucrative. I mean, these can be very big wins, but like venture capital, 90% they fail. So 9 out of 10, they fail. The government, the reason why they give 100% tax deduction is because 10 times out of 10, the government gets jobs.
Right.
So at least they know you're going to get a job out of that fundraising. And then The word is, so let's say we were doing a $5 million raise. They're going to go up north, also the biggest employer of indigenous of the mining industry. They drill the $5 million, which is a business expense, but they have no revenue. So they're allowed to flow through, and that's the name, flow through, $5 million of those business losses that they can't use because they have no revenue to people like you and I or other corporations that do have revenue. And that's where we're able to get that deduction. Now, just to finish the thought, it is volatile, and most people don't like that volatility. So what we were able to accomplish many years ago in 2007 was that we offered our clients the GIC version, a guaranteed version where we could sell those mining shares 1 second after you own them to someone that really understands mining. It could be the Royal Bank Resource Fund, could be Eric Sprott. For those listeners that don't know Eric Sprott, at Sprott Mutual Funds, and he's also here at Carleton, the Sprott School of Business was by Mr. Sprott because he gave $25 million of flow-through shares to make that donation and have the business school named after him. So when you sell those to Mr. Sprott, as long as you sell them at a discount, so if the shares are trading at $1.25, he'll buy them all at $1. And he can't sell them for 4 months, but his hope is they won't pierce through that dollar. And now you've got $1 of cash. You've had one policy to help exploration and drilling, and that cash, for 95% of our clients, they want to give some to charity. Only 5% of our clients are really that tight. Maybe they're behind on CRA. They've got lots of other expenses. But most of our clients are either want to give some to charity, and some of them, if you'll go to our website, you'll see some Greenberg testimonials, some Saputo testimonials. They want to give it all to charity. So it depends on what, and that gives you a second tax deduction. And that really is the benefit of charity flow, is we're taking $1 and doing two policies. One to help jobs and exploration and mining, where Canada is a world leader, and the other one, the government wants more charitable giving. Both of those help the government, and that's why they continue to give 100% tax deductions on each one of those.
Do you know what I really appreciate about you, Peter, is like the outside the box thinking and the ability to create these multiple wins. Like it didn't occur to me, like we've talked a few times and with your colleague Jeff about the benefits of such a plan, but this is the first time I thought about the employee side, the amount of work that it's providing for Canadians, especially in a time like we're recording this in May of 2025.
Yes,
where it's never been more important, as far as I can, at least in my lifetime, that we support Canadian business.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that aspect to me is very, very important, very appealing. I'm wondering. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, because I know you're a hockey fan.
Yeah.
I always like to do a hockey analogy because the listeners, Canadians, we don't understand mining very well. And we are, as far as the GDP of our country, we're half of all of construction. Everybody sees the construction, and that's all over town, all in Toronto, Vancouver. But think of mining, it's half of that. But it's all up north, so you don't see it. You don't see these machinery and how good we are. And there's a great analogy. The NHL now is down to 45% of Canadians are born in Canada, play in the NHL. And of course, that's been watered down because we had so many Europeans and Americans getting really good at our game. Most Canadians don't know that 65% of all public mining companies are Canadian-based. We are better at mining than we are at hockey.
Wow.
And that's baffling. So we're there, right there. Australia would be in our camp. And these critical minerals, another reason why the government wants so much and they want to buy it from Canada, 95% of rare earths are from China. 85% of these critical minerals are China and Russia. So those are the two big feeders. Then there's Australia and us. Europe, America, even Donald Trump wants to buy these critical minerals from Canada rather than China and Russia. And of course, it's in the news a lot. That's why he's interested in Ukraine. That's why he's interested in Greenland. And that's why he's interested in Canada.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I appreciate that hockey analogy. But remember, my Oilers, hopefully, they're going to continue to represent, okay? But this is great. And how can we leverage these tools in terms of healthcare? Like, how do we leverage these tools to be able to improve the care that we deliver
Yeah.
our patients and help reshape the current landscape?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's interesting, of course, I don't expect your listeners to really grasp everything. It'd be like me, if I'm in the ICU and you're going to tell me what you're going to do to save my life. I've got a lot of trust in you, Dr. K. I know you're board certified, right? And my neighbors have gone to you before in the emergency department, right? Or your cardiologist. You name the profession, or the tax lawyer. You have to trust those professionals, and that's the same with this show. You're not going to grasp everything, but I can tell you, if you bring this information, or just even charitable flows or structured flows, and bring that up to your accountant, I'd say 98% chance that she or he will know what we're talking about. And so I want to get to the accountant as soon as possible. But as far as healthcare, I mean, healthcare is so important. I mean, those are the two pillars I find, is healthcare and education. That really focuses on a great community. And we're in the middle of this phenomenal campaign in our hometown. So when you put these two government policies together, and our tax rates are at 54%, something great happens in that you're able to be almost prime minister for the day. And this is another thing that people can remember. When you put these two policies together, you can take a tax bill that you're not very happy about. Let's call it $100,000 as your personal tax bill, just for easy math for the listeners. It still works at $50,000 of tax bill, et cetera. But the 80,000, if you use our plan, rather than have 100,000 go to Revenue Canada, and we all know how that can get squandered in the government, 80,000, if you use our plan, even after our fees, 80,000 still goes to the CRA and the jobs. So about 40-40 each. So people, our clients love the jobs, just like you mentioned, and also for us to be a world leader in mining. But 20% goes to charities of their choice. So 20 grand goes to charity. 80,000 still goes back to CRA and the jobs. So for our clients, you can pay, and that's a one penny deal, we call it. So literally, it's $100,000 to pay RevCan, or do our way, fill out a philanthropic tax return. Still $100,000 is coming out of your pocket, but now $20,000 goes to the hospital at a 1 cent cost, including our fees. And that's something that resonates, and they say, Peter, I'm going to bring that to my accountant. If they think this is right, then sign me up and I'll be on using this every single year I have tax. So that's a way that, and we know so many doctors are there in the hospital, and the government's not, provincial government's broke. So they're always cutting back on your research and your fellows, your chairs, your equipment that you'd like to have. Well, we have different doctor groups that now use this product so that they can get that 20% that would have gone to CRA, and now they can laser it to their own department to help them find other machinery or other research that the province of Ontario just isn't funding. So that's another great thing. And hopefully we're going to have this, soon we're going to have this phenomenal hospital, and hasn't been done for 100 years. Ottawa needs another hospital. And it can be funded, by Prime Minister of the day with that 20% of taxes to your charity.
I like it because it's agency. It's giving departments and hospital staff some ability to innovate with and to create some change with that money. And because I've heard say this many times, we can't always wait for our governments to catch up and to meet our demands. So if we could take some of that in our own control, I think that goes a long way. And that's part of the appeal of why I wanted you on and wanted to partner, is not only are we creating jobs, not only are we supporting charitable donations, but we're also having an avenue where we can create the change ourselves. So to me, it's...
Yeah, and whatever you're passionate about, right? You're passionate about healthcare, right, and keeping people out of the ICU. Someone else might be passionate about animals. We've got one donor that gives the money to a very narrow niche with parrots, to help parrots. That's their specialty. As long as it's a registered charity, there's 90,000 of them, then that money can be put into those areas. And I've always said, the prime ministers know this, the politicians know this, that donations have love and attention on that dollar. Government grants, which still fund 80% of hospitals and universities, are faceless. They're loveless. The government has been providing that, but the doctors, the nurses, the professors at the schools, they don't really see it. But when Peter Nicholson gives a gift, well, they want to work extra hard to make sure that I'm happy with that gift so that I can continue to give them that $10,000 or that $100,000 or that $1 million transformational gift. So there's a lot more accountability, and that's why the government has loved donations since 1917. That's when they came into the tax code. Prior to that, actually, Canada had no taxes. We had a sales tax. Now we've climbed from no tax to 54% tax. Yeah, and the government wants more donations. They've been declining, unfortunately. 2008 was kind of the peak. The major gifts are not declining. This is like the Schwartz-Reisman gift of $110 million to U of T. Those big transformational gifts are still there, and they should be there because those are the people that are doing exceptionally well. But the middle-class gifts are dropping, and they're dropping because the middle class is having a difficult time making ends meet, and so are the lower-income people. And I really do believe we have two major problems in our world that we need to focus on. One is income inequality, which is what we just talked about. And the more my wealthy donors can give more to charity, the better they will all be, and be public about it, not be anonymous. Because I think the middle class and the lower income class need to know, hey, that when people are doing well in the community, they're sharing their good fortune. So that's one, income inequality, major problem. Second one is climate change. And again, we got to get off that carbon. We got to get more into electrification. And once again, these charitable structured flow-through shares are helping that transformation, finding more critical minerals, and also helping by impoverishing the very wealthy. And their hand is up to do that. And they also makes them feel terrific. I mean, when you've done well, I think by sharing your good fortune, you get that extra soul oomph that I got from when I was in Bangladesh and the contrast of Dubai.
Well said. I never thought of that perspective either, Peter, about being open about your major donations, because it's true. When you have a face to it as opposed to, hey, there's some large government grant, it makes it more personable. There's a little bit more soul to it. Yeah. And there's a lot more soul to it, to be honest with you. I'm wondering too, like, what proportion of these major gifts are through this, like, flow through shares? Like, now that I think about it, like, one that really stuck with me is when I heard PK Subban said, hey, I'm giving $10 million to the Children's Hospital, and obviously the amazing amount of donations the Greenbergs of the world have given. I'm wondering, is this a major style for?
Yeah. Well, I can only speak to our little public foundation run by 3 volunteers on my team. And last year we donated $55 million. We received $55 million. And our clients donated out $45 million. So they're not like one of those donor advised funds where they're sitting on it, or a private foundation where you plow the money in and it sits there growing. Our clients want to implement it. We send it out into the community. In total, we've now done over $350 million to charity. Wow. So between ourselves and my 3 competitors, our calculation, we're all private companies, so we don't know each other's numbers completely, but I'd say over $1 billion have been using Charity Flow. I can tell you that some of the $10 million donation pledges, the 25, the millions, and even small ones at 10 grand at the Ottawa Hospital are using this structure. Wow. Yeah, I can't name names, but yeah, no, it's being used. So I can't, and we make an extra effort to find more liquidity providers, that are going to de-risk it, that buy the shares immediately from you. That's what I spend most of my time, so that we can actually give more to our clients, to give more to charity. Because really, we shouldn't have just 2,500 in Canada doing this type of good work. We should double it to get to 5,000.
I love this, and this is part of my call to action too, making sure our board, all the boards in the city, at least know like this exists, and know to knock on the door of WCPD, because if we have the opportunity to pay more taxes or to donate to a cause that we really care about, especially a new campus that's going to reshape healthcare in the future here, I think, to me, it's a no-brainer. But I love all of this. So let me end here. Like, what would be an aspiration for WCPD in whether it's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years from now? You've mentioned the idea of creating more opportunities for more Canadians, but is there a clear vision for where you want to take the company?
Okay, I'll give you two. I think if I can double my liquidity providers, I can double. So that 55 million could go to 110. And just to put it in perspective, Ottawa U generally raises about 30 million a year. Carleton 20. For people, McGill is one of the biggest fundraisers at a little over 100 million. So here we are, where So I'd like to get the 55 to double that, the 110. The other thing that's interesting is on page 48 of the Carney plan that was just released 2 weeks before the election. He did mention that he proposes to expand flow-through shares. Right now, they're only in mining, to technology, to innovation. So it'll be AI, it'll be biomedical, it'll be supercomputers. So that is if that comes to fruition, and he says it will, we plan to expand. So yeah, yes, mining is fine, but I think there's actually even more we can do with technology. There'll be more liquidity providers that will de-risk this investment, because it is venture capital. That's why the government gives you the 100% deduction, and we all know venture capital usually has a high 80-90% failure rate. So we're going to take this great tax policy, de-risk it, and if you wanted to take the risk, of course, that's still there. So I'm excited about the future. I think technology could easily double, triple what we're doing, plus keep the mining where it is, because both of them are important in Canada, and we need to keep our jobs. I mean, the problem with technology in Canada is we've only had 3 super wins in Canada. One was Nortel, in the 1990s to 2000. The other one would be BlackBerry. And the last one would be Shopify. Those are the 3 great, major, multi-billion-dollar. We need more of those in Canada. We've got great engineers, we've got great computer scientists, but what tends to happen with our tech and innovation, they can raise money, which the flow-through shares will be able to do for them, with friends and family. That's things that are $100,000, $1 million. Where they struggle is the $50 million investors, the 100, the $500 million. The Americans have piles of those venture capitalists because they made their fortunes on the big 5 or 7, as you want to call it, Google, Facebook, or Apple. You've got it, right? So they've done exceptionally well. That means they've got a huge war chest, and they shop the world for services and take that IP, that intellectual property, and our engineers and move them down to California or Austin or New York City. So that's what Carney wants to put a stop to. And to be fair, Aaron O'Toole had that same idea in 2021's election as a conservative. So the Liberals are just going on what the Conservatives already thought about. So I know we've got political support, and the NDP and the Bloc would be there as well. So the answer, that's a long-winded question, but yes, looking forward to to the future of this business. Looking forward to my 6 kids growing up happy and healthy, because we know that you really at this point your health is actually, now I understand, is more important than my wealth.
Oh, 100%. If you don't have that, then you have nothing. I do want to say too, before ending off, the idea of being able to invest more on the tech and the AI and the innovation sector within healthcare. I'll speak to specifically. This is why I'm excited, because I think this could be transformative. I think with the tools already that exist, once they're scaled, like the way AI is improving efficiency, that is improving diagnostics, it's incredible in 2025. And if we could put some meat to it, I'm telling you, I truly believe the care of Canadians, access to care, quality of care, all these things are going to be amplified.
It'll make you a better doctor, right, Dr. K? But it shouldn't replace you.
No, it won't. It won't. I mean, it won't replace me. It might replace some of us, though. I won't lie. Like there's some specialties that You know,
Yeah, and lawyers and accountants. Look, I mean,
yeah.
it was always the blue collar jobs that were worried about innovation, the steam engine, things
Yeah.
of it. Now it doesn't
Irony.
matter. You got a university degree and you're smart in a profession. Yeah, you plug in any question in that AI, it spits out good information.
Yeah.
It could talk to you about flow through shares a lot, maybe sometimes better than your own tax accountant.
It is wild. But yeah, I think strategically we got to think about how we stay relevant. But Peter, this has been amazing. I am really proud of all the work you're doing, not only in terms of the Ottawa Hospital Foundation partnering there and allowing us to create that new tomorrow, creating that new tomorrow in terms of improving healthcare delivery.
You're my boss. I'm just down in the major gifts. You know, you and your team are right there leading us for that last 160 million on the foundation board.
But honestly, beyond that too, when you think about the contributions you're making to Canadians right now, and through a creative way of creating a multiple like win-win-win, I think is so essential, and it's the attitude we need in this country right now. How do we create those triple wins where we all get a piece and we all benefit and life gets better? So I just want to commend you, Peter. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.